CK3, as many of you know, has a slew of nicknames either unlocked by default when playing as characters like Harold Tanglehair here, or by meeting certain criteria in-game. Oddly enough, this is one of my favorite features of CK3, provided I get a nickname I actually like, because it greatly expands my own experience when my chosen or created player character unlocks a cool nickname. And so today I'd like to go over 15 of my favorite nicknames out of what feels like at least probably 100 and explain how to unlock them. Keep in mind that 1, I like more than these, but to make a video of all of them would be silly, and 2, mods tend to add or replace several of these, so consider this video vanilla focused with a light asterisk because more often than not, you can unlock these in mods as well. Without further ado, let's get started. So number 1, starting off strong with what I believe is technically a bad nickname because nicknames are considered either good or bad in game, although it doesn't really tell you that, but you get the idea. This nickname is the Abominable, which requires you to be a giant, have the ugly, hideous, or scaly trait, be sadistic or have other malicious personality traits, and have a tyranny or dread score of 75 or more. That's pretty high, so you'd have to be pretty bad, and I feel like the Abominable is probably a good nickname for you at this point. Number 2, the Bard. Personally, I like this one a lot more than the Poet, another more common nickname that you'll see in game. This one requires you to have the poet and gregarious traits, but also you have to be compassionate and have no dread for it to have a chance of happening. I imagine this one would be cool in Roads to Power for players who want to play as maybe a wandering bard-like character. That could be really interesting, we'll have to see. Number 3, the Berserker, which sounds sick, but is admittedly not very creative because all it requires you to have is the Berserker trait, which I believe is only unlockable by North Germanic cultures with the Warmonger tenet, a prowess of at least 16, and I think you have to be a male. That last part might not be true, but I don't believe I've ever seen anybody called the Berserker that was a woman, but I could be wrong. Number 4, the Bloodfather or Bloodmother, which I think just sounds cool. It's really easy to unlock. I mean, not easy, but all you have to do is do the strengthen your bloodline decision, which you can do as the head of your dynasty. However, you have to have an intelligence, strength, and beauty genetic trait, all 3, with one of those being maximum, so either genius, Herculean, or beautiful. It's not exactly easy to do. You're gonna have to do some genetic lottery nonsense, but it is a pretty cool choice and it's a cool nickname. Number 5, the Cyclops. This one is also really sick and isn't actually too hard to get. You just need to be a giant, which is kind of hard to get, and have one eye, which makes sense really. This is provided you aren't already a giant with 20 prowess, because you may unlock the Goliath nickname instead before you get the chance to channel your inner son of Poseidon. Number 6, the Dragon, requires you to have the cannibal secret exposed with a dread level above 50. Funny enough, this is actually considered a good nickname if it's above 50, but if it's below 50, you get the bad nickname, which is just the Cannibal, which you've probably seen because I've seen that many times. Number 7, the Glorious. Look, I like this nickname. We all want to be known as the Glorious, and to do this, you have to do one of the most popular things according to CK3's Reddit posts: restore the Roman Empire. Now, I'm not a Romaboo by any means. I've been pretty vocal about that on this channel many times, but I can get down with a pretty good nickname, I'll be honest. Number 8, the Great. No list would be complete without arguably the most important nickname for any ruler in history. To unlock this, you either have to found Portugal, restore the Carolingian borders, restore the Holy Roman Empire, or secure the Kingdom of the North Sea while having a feudal or clan government. That last part's important. Supposedly you can also get this by being a living legend with at least devoted servant as your faith rating, a realm size of 30, and be independent, but I believe that would only aid you in your chances of doing this, as I've had that many times and I've never actually gotten the Great for those characters. Also note that if you do the North Sea decision as a tribal government, you'll still get the very cool Sea King nickname, but you will not get the Great as your nickname. Number 9, the Griffin, another great fantasy creature. This one requires you to have 10 intrigue, 12 prowess and martial, and a martial education. Not very hard, but again, it's randomized, so you might not get it, but I just like the way it sounds. Number 10, the Judge. I'll admit this one is mostly because it reminds me of Judge Dredd, but this one is tied to the Restore Israel decision with a 50% chance of either giving you this nickname or the Shepherd, which is significantly less cool. It didn't say when I looked this up, but I would assume either martial, maybe an intrigue focus, tend to lean towards the Judge, and maybe if you have like a learning or diplomacy focus, it'll lean towards the Shepherd. That's probably not true. It probably is just randomized, but it'd be cool if otherwise. Number 11, Pendragon. Who doesn't want to live out their Arthurian fantasy? This one is fairly easy and requires you to complete the Reclaim Britannia decision while a member of the Brittanic culture. Again, pretty straightforward. A lot of these are. They're a lot easier than you probably think. You just haven't gone out of your way, usually like in my case, to try and get them. Number 12, the Shield of Capital City. Now, it's not actually Capital City, it just happens to be whatever your capital city is. So it'd be like the Shield of Oslo, whatever you want to call it. This one, to me, makes your ruler feel like a martial badass. To unlock this, you have to have a martial-focused education and have a capital with at least 50 opinion of your ruler or more. So you're probably not going to be going to war for a while, but maybe if you're doing defensive stuff, you will. It makes more sense that way, I'm not sure, but it's a cool one. Number 13, the Wise. Who doesn't want to be known as the Wise? I mean, really. To unlock this, you have to have quick, shrewd, theologian, scholar, or a learning of 16 and have introverted traits like shy or paranoid, which is probably the only time those are even useful. Number 14, the Wolf. In all ways but physical, I think this is a dope nickname. This one requires you to have 10 martial and intrigue, the shrewd trait, and a quick or hunter perk. I feel like this one has a higher chance of unlocking than something like the Griffin, because it is very specific to what it's asking you to do, so it shouldn't be too hard to get this one. I've seen this one more than once, along with the Lion. And finally, at number 15, we have the Troll Slayer. This one is, it's just dope. That's a sick nickname. You can trigger it if you either kill a beast in the deep places of the world event chain while having a bad nickname already, such as something like the Weak or the Unworthy, or if you have no nickname at all and kill a beast in the event chain, you have a 25% chance of becoming the Troll Slayer. I've done the event a few times. I don't think I've ever actually gotten a Troll Slayer, but I found out this is how you get it, so I'm going to definitely be trying my hand at that. But that is going to be it for this one, a short little video today. Just wanted to share some interesting things, talk about some nicknames. I didn't know any of this stuff before I started looking into it for a video, so maybe you didn't know it either, and if you know how to unlock some other ones, let people know in the comments. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Soul. This has been 15 cool CK3 nicknames and how to unlock them, and I will happily see you in the next one.